recording. Cool. So here we are using Kotlin 2.0.0, and it's not even showing that there is a newer version. However, it is still not working the field feature. I mean, from all the great things that they are having, like faster compiler and everything, I'm mostly excited about the field feature.
Backend field.
Yeah, but apparently it still
Time.
doesn't work.
Yeah, with time it will come. It would. They will make it by default. I mean, I don't normally like jumping into any new update. I normally do it like
I think the issue is with
let's say 1 or 2 months, 1 to 3 months in. Then I look at it. I
it
normally apply
also.
updates immediately.
I think it also has to do with the
Hello, guys.
plugin. Hi Saif, how are you?
Eh, no, I'm sorry.
Hello. What are you guys talking about?
We are talking about Kotlin update, like we are using in this project 2.0, but there was an update today or yesterday, newer version. And we are talking about the backing field, the explicit one that you can, for example, for your states, let me find some sort of view model.
Yeah. The Kotlin new version that you have a state
Backend
expression
field.
is more simplified. Yes.
Yeah, but I think it still doesn't work because of the plugin. Did you manage to make it work?
No, I haven't really did anything with it. Not yet, actually.
Let's give it a try. So if I write something like val state is state flow, for example, login screen state, then I should be able to say field is, or like that, is mutable state flow. I don't know why the whole import.
Hold on, let me search for it.
Or actually like that. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry guys. This is my first time
Mhm.
joining this session. So just for me to familiarize with what's going on, do you mind explaining what you are trying to do or what you're trying to achieve so that at least I can try to chip in?
Yeah, sure, of course. So basically, the whole thing behind, I'm sharing the screen, right? Is the Android dev
Yes.
community. So it's sort of community with like-minded people working on Android. There are beginners, there are experts. So the idea is that we build nice community where we can help each other, like build things, improve ourselves, learn new things, share what we are learning, that kind of like regular community. And on top of that, we are recording this session. So we are having, if you check the calendar, every Wednesday and every Friday we are having a free call where we are working on things together. Some people are having questions, some people are being blocked with something, some people are having issues with their CV, some people they want to find a new job, so they struggle with things like how do I approach the whole thing? How do I find a new job? How do I optimize my CV? How do I write a motivation letter? Those kind of things. So we are talking about those things here. And yeah, so if there are no questions from the people joining the call, then we are working on some code usually. And then we work on different aspects. Like we have a public repository, this one. And this is an Android application where we are sort of learning different things like modularization, coroutines, testing, compose, you name it. And that's actually this project that I have opened here. That's what we are. That's basically what we do. And on Thursday we have a call for the pro members which is basically a program that you can upgrade to, and it costs pretty much a coffee per month. And then we have those calls for the pro members on Thursday. It's also 1 hour. In the classroom, we are having different things. Like, for example, you need continuous integration course. Here is like written form, like text version. Step-by-step setting up continuous integration with GitHub Actions. Here are some videos that you can follow. And we have similar courses for, they're not structured courses. Not all of these are structured courses, like continuous integration is, but some of them, like general app development, is just these sessions that we are recording while working on the code. I'm adding them here. So you can, for example, figure out things on your own. Similarly to Jetpack Compose.
All right, nice.
Like those are basically things that we worked on together here, but because not everybody is, like you see, we have in the community like 500 people, but not everybody is available to join. They're busy, they're having different time zones. They can watch afterwards. In the community tab here, you can write posts of your things that you learned or questions that you may have. Of course, you can send me a DM or send a DM to anybody that you feel like they can help you. And of course, you can send a DM to me asking things or giving feedback, of course. And then you can make posts here. Like, for example, here was a question about the state flows yesterday or 2 days ago. And then we have a little discussion here. So that's the idea behind.
Well, let's see. So I guess today we are focusing on that question on state flows.
No, we were talking about, like, yesterday was the Kotlin got new release. So let me see. Kotlin release notes. It was yesterday, I guess. There was an update, but what we were discussing is that there is still no 2020. So let me maybe try to update the project to this one. 20. What we are trying to see is whether the explicit backing field feature is there, because like just by updating the Kotlin version, it is not working. So we should also probably wait on update on the plugin. Have you maybe tried to update it, and did you find it working?
Well, I think on the project I'm working on, I'm still in version 1.9. So I haven't really shifted to the new 2.0 version.
Yeah, so if you are about to migrate to 2.0, there is a video where we've done that on this project, so you can find it here. In the general app development, if you scroll down, you can find, where was it? Maybe it was in different, let me see. Maybe it was here, Jetpack Compose. Usually it is here in the description, like written.
Okay,
No,
I'll look at that.
Here it was, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was in general app development, but I don't remember which video, so you'll have to figure out yourself. But yeah. Now I'm curious, that's what I'm trying to find out, but yeah. Oh yeah, migrating to Kotlin 2.0 tooling, it's here. It's in general app development, but tooling section, so migrating to 2.0. So here we went through the process of upgrading and how everything went. So yeah, let me see, did it update? Yeah, seems like it works.
I think you should use a Kotlin compiler instead of the JVM to compile this feature of explicit backing field. Not sure of that.
How do you set that up? Do you know?
I think you could do that by going to the setting and setting the key to compiler. I remember watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here you mean. The problem is,
Yeah.
I tried that, but it was breaking many other things. So maybe by now they have a new version that works. Let me see. It was here, I guess.
Yeah, I think it has some is back in
This
Kotlin
is the one.
1.9, but I think it's stable now. Yeah.
It says alpha. That's why I think it was breaking many other things. But let's give it a
Yeah.
try, right? Let's give it a try. Let's see.
Okay.
So at least
Can I
we are
see
gonna
also the
have a-
code where you do? Yeah. Can I see the code of where you declare the explicit backend field?
Yeah, I removed it. So shall we first try this and then
Okay.
keep the code? Yeah, let's
Okay, let's try it.
let's terminate now.
No problem.
Yeah. And let's see if that's gonna fix. Because yeah, last time I tried, it broke many other things. Okay.
I have lots of people are using it for the multi-platform. So yeah.
Yeah, you see paparazzi is not working already. Okay. The plugin. Let me close all of this. Actually, do we need to commit something here? So we have, oh no, this is just the import from the call on Wednesday that we have left over. And these are the improvements that we've done, if you remember, on Wednesday.
Yeah.
With the defaults. And this, so let me commit them as different. So improvements on the custom input fields API. And then here I'm gonna say bump dependency versions. Cool. Let's push that so that everybody has it. And go back to the project. So if I open any sort of, I don't know, we can try it out here.
Okay.
If I say screen or just state, for example, that's gonna be a state flow, login screen state. Then I want to do field.
Would equal the mutable state of flow.
State.
Of course.
Flow. Login screen state, something like that. And now this one says the feature explicit backing field is experimental and should be enabled explicitly. So yeah, probably we have to put some sort of flag in the build.gradle or something. Can someone please share
Maybe, let me
into
switch
the
also.
project repository? Sure. Here you go, Kenneth.
You also do it with the live data. That's interesting.
For the live data, they also done the same? You mean, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should work. Like, it's a language feature, so it should work like for pretty much for anything. Like, you can, it doesn't necessarily need to be flow. It can be pretty much anything, any other type. It can be, I don't know, list, for example, string.
Yeah. I think it's enabled for all the observable pattern.
Yeah, here you can use
Container. It's already show any way to enable it.
Something like that. Oops. So I don't know, how do we enable it? The should be enabled explicitly. So if I copy, can I copy this? Okay.
Set backend fields, how to enable.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to enable it.
This
The
way,
key
I
to
guess.
Kotlin compiler first, and you have to add it. Yeah, same. Same page I'm opening with you.
Yeah. So let's try. I'm curious. It's not that I'm gonna stick with it, but just, out of curiosity. Do I have to do it in every build.gradle that I need? So let's
Yeah, I
try.
think so.
Yeah. Maybe we can move it into one build.gradle, like experimental features, and then import in all the other ones. So we only repeat the importing. Yeah, now it works.
Yeah, I think these are done. I'm not really sure if it would work.
So
Does
here I can say
it
state.
work?
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
except I cannot add now, for example. Let me try with state flow.
Yeah, this is just
mutable state.
mutable state of flow.
Flow. And then state.
Not
Nah,
updates.
Can you try with an object and update it, or you cannot update it?
I cannot. You see, there is no update that I can call.
Mm,
So if this one was mutable
that's weird.
state flow, then I can
And
do update and then change the value inside. That was the promise, at least.
Oh, that's just doing nothing. Yeah. Can't you like do state.field and access the field?
Yeah, I tried.
I don't know.
It doesn't work. I tried. State
No.
value. Yeah, but value is like you cannot change. It is anyway from the.
Let me see. Dates. Oh, so you just dot value and then assign it to another value. There is no need for updating.
Oh, but then.
So it's more of like updating a state. Remember. Yeah.
So here is an example.
You'd like try to use it like it's a mutable state, but it's a state flow, something like that. Like you handle a remember state in the UI.
So if I do state equals something like that, you mean?
Like if you use state.value equals something.
I don't think it's gonna work. Oh, it does.
Yep, it worked. You could read the documentation I sent in the messaging in the meet.
Okay.
That's actually interesting how they managed to do that.
This, yeah.
You could also, yeah. I wonder if you could do an abstract class of a basic view model and handle this state.
Yeah, but the state is not the same for each subclass of the view model, right?
The object, the UI set is different for sure. So you need to be more of a generic implementation to handle this. Yeah. But you'd have an access to the states.
Yeah, I'm checking the documentation that you have sent for the updates, because I mean this is fine, but what if I want to use, let's say, list here and here, well, array list, and now I want to add something, so I cannot add. So I have to assign like state value, well, not value, but state plus list of if I want to add something.
Could you do like state.value that add, or that's not possible?
It doesn't have a value when it's a list.
Oh, it's a list. Okay. Yeah, because this is state, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know, like, what's the whole point of all this? Because I was assuming that this should give me access to the underlying type, and then I can manipulate by accessing this thingy from inside the class, sort of.
Yeah. Well, you could understand the way a new flow of an instance. You shouldn't create two variables. One is a state and one is a mutable state, and then manage to sense of flow and to update the state. So it makes sense by the end, but I think it has some issues with other instance types.
Yeah. Yeah, you see, people were trying different things here.
Yeah. You could also try it with Atomic Java. That's interesting. I haven't really used Atomic before.
Which one?
For local and regular references. The Atomic is a Java class, I think.
Yeah, so again with the field, you mean?
Yeah.
So atomic int, for example. Or this should be int. And this one should be atomic. State, yeah, but then, yeah, they are not the same type, it seems. Like they're not compatible types. Yeah. Anyway, let's maybe revert this, and here I'm going to put back the regular check for ID updates.
So does the Kotlin K2 compiler compiles the code into native code, or is it the same for like handling with a JVM when you're like working with a Android or like desktop?
Would you mind repeating the question? I'm not sure I understood.
Oh, okay. So the thing, I know that Kotlin uses the JVM to like interpret the code into machine code, but does the new compiler compile it into native code, like binary code, and then run it, or how does it like be different from the JVM?
I think it depends on the compiler version, but and the target that you are targeting, because I think it is capable to compile to JVM bytecode. It's capable to compile to native, and it's capable to compile to JavaScript, whatever JavaScript thingy the compiled code looks like, or it is.
Because
so I think it depends on the actual.
heard like the compiler that is used for the Kotlin multiplatform is a modular compiler. You could compile the code into native code when it comes to the iOS and embedded systems like JavaScript, but it's different when it comes to the desktop version and the Android, where you should compile it to a JVM, and from JVM it would be compiled to bytecode.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure if you could like compile to the native code in Android and desktop with this K2 compiler version. So yeah.
So
Have
if
to
I
search more about it.
If I understood well, like when you write Kotlin code, it compiles the Android side to JVM, but the native, like for iOS, like it compiles native so that iOS consumes that as a library. I think you can still you can consume that library on Android too, like if you want to consume it as a C++ thingy or native.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm not sure if it compiles to C++. Maybe it compiles to something else. I don't know what's the thing that is being spit out at the end that iOS is consuming. I don't know. I don't think it's C++ library. It's something else, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, Compose platform like uses this Kia engine, which directly uses the Android NDK, which is the C++ code to like design and implement the views in the screen. So you could understand from the Compose, but in Kotlin is quite different, I think. Not really sure how they like compile it into native in these systems. Yeah, it's just an interesting subject to like search for it. Yeah.
Yeah, but if we know that, probably we would have invented Kotlin multiplatform before. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways,
But yeah, it's definitely
I'm
an
actually
interesting thing to look into, for sure.
yeah, I'm actually interested into making a website with Compose multi-platform, but I'm a bit hesitated because I think that lots of users would use it if I ever publish this site. Uh, I know the Compose, I haven't really experienced much with it when it comes to API handling. I think it would work with Caterfish easily, but not sure about the cases and the challenges I would face. It's like, you know,
Yeah, I think with Cater it's gonna work for sure. And I think yeah, it's nice thing to just try and explore. I mean, there will be some learning out of it for sure.
yeah, I'm a bit hesitated if I should like build the site with React or like should try to build it with Compose Web because it's still in alpha
I will
and
go
like
with
I'm not really
Compose.
doing much, not really doing much of a UI with this website, but just displaying data, nothing much. But yeah, sort of like experimenting and publishing it.
There was somebody in this community. He haven't joined the last few calls. Probably you have noticed him in some of the calls. He built an entire application for Android, iOS, and web using Kotlin multiplatform and Compose multiplatform. And that's an open source. So it's a great example of like how everything can be wired together. And actually he put this application as a paid version on Play Store and App Store. So I'm not sure if he's making some money out of it, but it's at least a good, how to say, good example and learning resource. We worked on it
Cool.
together, I think last year in December when he joined the pro membership. So like we were looking at some of the aspects together, but then he continued by his own. And yeah, he did well. So yeah, it's
All right. I think I'd like implement the REST API implementation of the website, and if it failed or had some pretty much difficult challenges with it, I would like leave with React until it comes stable and like publish the site again. But overall, I'm designing the whole UI and I'm building a separate UI library for it. So if everything went well, I would go and publish it for sure.
By the way, somebody on LinkedIn, I think it was 2-3 days ago, published a comparison of their application that was built with, I think it was React Native or something, like something multi-platform, or not multi-platform but cross-platform. And then they rewrote to native because they really started getting, how to say, bad feedback about the performance. And
Yeah.
you like they put like an example like side to side about application launch, like the launch time and everything else, like how everything was working.
Yeah,
By
yeah,
the
that's
time
true.
the native opened, they started scrolling, clicking on things, and the cross-platform one was still like on the splash screen. So that was
That's
really
actually true.
significant. And from a customer perspective, like imagine on social networks if they have to wait so much for a Pinterest, for example, to load.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
the
think
thing about
yeah,
yeah, continue, please. Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt.
I wanted to say the native is still having some like it's still gonna have place to stay on the market for quite some time. I'm not sure about the the multi-platform, like with Kotlin multi-platform. Now there is also a competitor where you can build Android apps with Swift. I'm not sure if you have checked
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah. Actually, this still actually is the you mean the skip, right?
Yeah, Skip.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
will be interesting to see how everything's gonna continue to develop.
Okay.
I
So
think every feature will have its market. I don't think that Kotlin multi-platform or Flutter will disappear completely. Everything will have its market. I think so.
yeah.
I agree.
I think for application at the moment, you don't have to deal with device and such a thing. It's better to do it multi-platform when it's most data driven. But if it's have to do with hardware, such a thing, I think with hot platform is a bit difficult to have a better performance there.
True.
Yeah.
That is my opinion.
Well, well, in my opinion, the thing that you mentioned before, I think it was the Notion app. They recently just switched from a cross multi-platform app into a native code, and they displayed in their I think LinkedIn's like page, and they like displayed the difference in timing and how things like initializes first when you open the app, and it has like the biggest improvements that they ever made. Now the thing about the Compose web, it's not only Compose web, it's also a Flutter web. The thing is that it doesn't really support all the platforms, especially the Apple and Kindle, because these platforms doesn't have in their like the web browser engine the feature of the WebAssembly garbage collector. So in order to handle this, you have to do some workaround to enable this. And by doing that, you have to use Kotlin JS, and it would be a terrible way to, the performance would be very low in that case. So it has lots of challenges in that case. Another thing, about the skip tool, I've read the documentation, I've seen how it's implemented. I think that it has a lot of boilerplate code when it comes to Jetpack Compose. And it doesn't have any mechanism where it handles the RESTful API. The only thing that I saw is some data in the Swift that is compressed and went to be generated and then like decompressed from Kotlin side and then displayed to the user again. And I saw like they would like use the thread the thread management when it comes to the AI was very terrible when it handles these data. So I don't really like the library much or the tool. I don't think that it has a big future. It's also coming from one engineer, not like a big staff working on this tool. So yeah, this is my general opinion on it. And I think about the cross-platform, it has like a big features. Maybe in my region, because lots of people in my region are using super apps that are extensively have many apps that are mostly a PWA apps, you could say that. That are mostly cross-platform in that case. So yeah, it depends on the region and on the people they're using the apps in that region. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But also like the businesses, for example, Skool, like as a platform, this thing is Skool.com. Like I think they are everywhere, but main markets for them are like European Union or Europe and US. And their
Yeah,
application, like the mobile app, sucks. And I
that's
mean,
true.
this is a company that has money. They do have money. Yet they have developed something with I think it is React Native or something similar. So like you pull to refresh, it doesn't work. You want to reply on a message, you click the reply and you want to scroll the messages to see, for example, what you are trying to reply to. For example, there was a question with let's say two questions into one paragraph. You
Mhm.
want to scroll down. Good luck with that. It doesn't work. So
Yeah.
yeah, to some extent, also the companies are sort of trying to pick and choose what they're gonna use, what they're gonna do, for a specific uh, for like to optimize for the budget or for something similar.
Yeah. I mean, like the Flutter actually, don't misunderstand me. I like this framework. I used to work with it. But I think like a businessman and people misunderstood what it like explicitly main feature is and how it works and like how you write clean code with it, how you implement feature in a correct way with it. You could actually write applications that are very similar to native apps with Flutter, but I think when it comes from a business perspective, you have to choose something that is a very low budget for it. You like you want to apply some of your employees to work in a one framework instead of make like taking more employees to work on different frameworks and each one give you a feedback. That'll be head frustrating for you. So yeah, but I think like in the near future, the multi-platform frameworks will gain more attention. The thing is, the native apps will remain nothing much with them, but like the multi-framework apps, they will like gain more attention in the near future, especially in my region, I think. Well, also when it comes to super apps and mini apps. So yeah,
Yeah, about the argument that you made about this skip or whatever tool, the name of the tool was for developing
yeah,
Android with Swift. I think they mentioned that they were working for a year on it before announcing it. So like, I think if what you are saying, like they don't have support for network calls, for example, and it's one of the main ideas behind mobile, like to display data from internet.
yeah.
I mean, and after a year they are still not having support. I don't know how. Like, I'm a bit concerned about the future of that.
I mean, you could like think of the declarative programming languages like as a single language. I mean, as an Android developer, I could easily use Swift UI framework because it's a declarative UI. The
Mm-hmm.
thing that people would be concerned about the logic the most. The UI part is very easy. You can learn it in a week. I actually learned it by Compose in over a week. I had developed XML my whole life actually. I didn't really take too much long to learn Jetpack Compose. So I think me learning Swift as a new framework wouldn't take much, but the thing that I would take much to learn is the logic, how you handle this logic in that platform. And for me, if I would do something multi-platform with native UI, I would stick with a Kotlin multi-platform and build the whole UI with Swift UI and Jetpack Compose. That would be very much easy for me. But like a library to build a UI natively, and there is no logic when it comes to handling APIs and image loading, all of these things is a bit I'm not really judging, but I think it's not really the next to framework like the multi-platform frameworks. Like I don't believe in this idea actually.
Yeah,
It's my
yeah.
opinion in the end. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to me, like a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let me share something else. There is this member of the community, Arpit, that had an issue, but he said that he's gonna join today's call, but he's still not here. Essentially, I don't understand the question well, so that's why maybe I'm gonna open this, so then he's gonna maybe look into the recording. So he has an issue with he's working on a parsing JSON from API, and I would like to write adapter that supports multiple date formats. Can you give me directions, for
Date
example?
formats.
Now, there are several things that you can do with this, right? I gave here some of the things that I'm thinking about, but I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to do. So there is like one approach is if he's using, let's say, Apollo plugin and GraphQL, then by default it supports scalars. So you can say parse the dates using Java 8 DateTime class. And then it's gonna convert the string into, like, it knows how to do that. You can do similar thing with retrofit if you put, I mean, all you have to do is just put different in your retrofit setup. Let me open the project maybe so we can I can remember exactly what I'm talking about. not this one, this one. So I think we have network module. Yeah, converter factory. So I think here we can do add converter factory, and then here we can specify a factory that will be converting. But it depends on the serialization library, I think. So if you're using JSON, for example, it's one story. If you're using Kotlin X serialization, it's different story. But I think, again, you can still just put something that's going to convert scalars. And that's one. Another way or approach to attack this is to parse out the strings, like the whatever the date comes in, parse it as a string from the API, and then do the conversion internally. Like you can write your own date time formatter or whatever, and then you can
Just a quick, I want to say something. Is
yeah, go
as
ahead.
far I understood, it's not getting the data. Is about that parsing the data, right? Parsing the dates.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking that it's about the parsing the dates.
I think that maybe it's receiving the data, because sometimes it depends how you receive the date from the backend. It could be a long, it could be instant this date, and then you have to think about how to parse it with the time zone and everything. I think it's most of the issue there. Am I right or not?
I have no clue. But if that's the case, that's what I wanted to say with the third option, where is you write your own scalar for parsing the date. Because the APIs are allowing us to do that. It's extensible. So you can define custom way to parse, because there are APIs that suck and they give you, for example, in the name of the same field, like let's say date is the key, and the value could be different types, could be long, could be string, could be whatever. And in that case, you have to write your own sort of adapter, if that's what you mean.
No, for me, it's not about the adapter. It's about to know in which format you receive the data, the date.
So
Because if you could be long, you have to think how to pass it. If it's sometime, most of the people put instant because of the because of the time zone or like that, then you have to pass according to the time zone. I don't know if it's the issue for him, but the problem is it's not there to explain really what's the issue.
If it is with a time zone that you are gonna get back, like let's improvise here a little bit. In fact, let me do this. Scratch, I think, yeah. So you are gonna get something like this. Date, let's say, and then you have here something like date, I'm using the wrong browser, date time with time zone. You are gonna get something like this, which is sort of, this is the date, this is the time, and then after the plus it should be the time zone. Or there was something like Z, and then here could be something like defining the zone, like +1. I'm not sure how was the exact.
It's the time delayed from the UTC.
Yeah, so something like this. If this is the case, that you can still use zone date time to parse it out. If you just know that this is zoned. But I'm not sure if his question was, for example, this date can be sometimes string, it can be sometimes long, so the same key but different type. If that's the case, then you have to, he will have to write his own adapter, like to figure out per type what he's going to parse out. But if it's just about the zones, let me show you
but
what
I
I
think
have
that is
done.
also the problem of the backend. The backend should be also consistent, not to
Of
send
course,
you
of course.
sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, but there are backends that are written in in PHP, for example. I mean, we know
Why this
that.
reference speed?
We dealt with that. We all know
Yeah.
how it works. But yeah, there are some. I totally agree. So the API should be like consistent. They should give you specific type. And that's like, yeah, it sucks when it doesn't. For example, recently I was working on I'm not sure if I can show this because it is recorded as well. I was working on my application that I'm working now. So imagine you make a login call. If you receive 200 back, it means that you have logged in, you have the bearer token, you have some specific JSON structure that contains the token, like the bearer token and some IDs and blah, blah, blah. However, if the user has enabled multi-factor authorization, the login call gives you back 201, a different code, and then the JSON inside is different. It gives you a list of possible MFA multi-factor authorization options. So you have to parse different JSON structures for different response code. That's also a little bit shit, or like a little bit. I would define it like, I would say I would make the API differently. I would reply the same response and then add this multi-factor authorization list as an optional field in the same response. So when it's not empty, it means that, I mean, the error, the code, like the response code can be still different, but the actual body would be the same. So we can parse it out in a statically typed languages easily. And then I would say per response code, plus I can check also this optional field if it's not gone, if it's there. I know that I have MFA, so I have to list the options. So I had to deal with that. That's one, but also I wanted to say about the date times. Maybe I can pull only that part of the code if I can. I can show you how am I parsing it.
You mean like the response body of the 201 code is the same as the 200 code? Like there are some fields in the 200 response that are not available in the 201?
Here is what it looks like. So if it's 200, you get, let's say, a token like user ID. Come on, I messed up. So you get something like user ID, you get token, and I don't know, some other fields here. Irrelevant for now. If it's 201, however, you're not getting JSON object, but an array of JSON objects. And they look like name, for example. Let's say authenticator, or actually this is type. So you have to use authenticator app. If this is like, this list depends on what you have enabled for your profile. Then you have some sort of MFA ID, for example. And then you have something like irrelevant, doesn't matter. Then you have in this list additional things like this. And then this one can be, let's say, email. And then probably, let's call it name, I don't know. It doesn't matter, but here can be your email at email.com, so that you know where this code was sent for the MFA. Or like you can request MFA code on that email, and then something like, let's say, SMS, and then you are gonna have here a phone number. You see, they are different. Blah, blah, blah. So for 200 you get one response, for 201 you have completely different response. What I would do is I would still have 200 and 201, but here I would have set MFA options. That's gonna be this array by default empty, or maybe even gone, like null. Something like this I would have done on the backend. So that would have made it much easier, right? Like that.
Say this code, and each say this code you have to like deserialize into the object that you want.
Yeah. So you have to take back string and then serialize it based on the code, or deserialize it based on the code that comes in.
Yeah, basically.
Let me see if I can bring here this class. Yeah. So this is what I meant with the zoned DateTime. So here I'm taking string that comes in with this z that we spoke about. And if I have few options to parse it out. So I can parse it only the date, I can only parse the time if I need to, and also short date, which is, I think, specific representation. I think it was Joule, for example, 21, something like that. So this is month, or no. Yeah, I think it is like that. This one would be something like July 21. I if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, maybe this is something that would work the best. So like you take in string, and then you parse it the way you want. But like, how do you parse? You make an instance of the zone date time, and you pass which zone ID you want. So if you want to convert it to your own, like what's the time on your side, then that's what I'm doing here. So yeah. And then
So is the zone DateTime an Android instance?
it's Java 8 API, Java time.
Oh, okay. But I think it doesn't support Android 25 API, so you need to like use a simplified data parser here instance instead of this date format.
Nope.
Yeah.
It works in, like, by default it works on Android 26 and up, but you can use the sugaring as well. So then it's gonna work for APIs below 26. Let me show you.
What do you mean? Sure. Sugaring is with me.
Yeah, Android.
I must like use the simple date formats in these cases. Oh, sugaring, like when you have the API 26 use this instance.
Yeah.
And different instance when the API is lower, right?
Yeah, so this is the thing. Core library, the sugaring, you just put it in your build.gradle, and then Java time is gonna work on APIs below 26. But anyway, the mean SDK version for this application I'm working on is 26, so I don't have to do this. But if you need to, you can use Java 8 plus features by applying the desugaring. So yeah.
Cool.
It's gonna work just fine. Okay. The other side, now that I see you, about the question that you were having here. How are you, by the way?
I think his name is Muhammad because that's with M.
Oh yeah, it could be because yeah, he has probably two names and then the last name. Yeah, I didn't manage to look into this, so I will take a look probably when I have some more time, and we'll provide more feedback about the question that you were asking here. But in general, what I wanted to say is that when you navigate from one to another composable using the regular navigation, the composables are cleaned off the stack, and then when you go back are again brought up to the stack. But the view model associated to them is not going to be cleaned up if you are just injecting them regularly with coin or hilt, for example. So like if you put a breakpoint on your on clear, like open any view model, then you can override the on cleared. It is not being called.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so in that sense, when you go back to your screen, if the view model has a, let's say if you're using stateflow and if it has a value inside that triggers a navigation, when you go back, it's gonna try to recompose again because it provides the last remembered value.
Yeah, Job. First of all, thank you very much for the community and everything. This is my very first time joining the call. I mean, I've been part of the community from the maybe from the day one, but I wasn't able to join the calls due to my time zone and everything. But these days, I'm a little free these days, so I thought why not join the call. And secondly, yeah, I totally got your point regarding the navigating based on the state flow. But what confuses me is like it somehow there's a loop, infinite loop of navigating to the next screen. I'm thinking like to me it looks like I'm navigating to next screen and then again back to the previous and then again to next and then again to the previous. So I do have my code opened at main studio, but maybe we can look that into later sometime. I think we are a little over the scheduled meeting time, but thanks for your feedback. We'll really appreciate if you can take a look at the code.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look for sure the code. Like we can open it. Like I'm gonna make sure that I will compile it and run it on my site, and then we can open it and look into it. But I also don't mind staying a little bit longer in this call. But yeah, what I wanted to say is like the issue that you are having most probably is because when you enter one of these composables, you are having some sort of code that is causing the recomposition. So like if it makes a recomposition once, like maybe let's say going, it doesn't necessarily need to go somewhere else. It can actually loop into the same thing based on the code that you are having. But you can detect what causes this recomposition. So that's why I suggested you to use the launched effect, because then it checks the actual value, and only when the value is changed, it's gonna execute something. But if it's not wrapped in a launched effect, or if you're not using this remember, for example, states, then it's very likely to make a recomposition based on depending on the code inside. What you can do is maybe for as an insight, if you open the app inspect, not the app inspection, sorry, but
I believe you mean layout inspector, I think, and
yeah,
I
the
can
layout
check the
inspector.
what's causing the recompositions. Yeah, like my screen is fairly simple. I simply have three text fields and one button, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm simply on the clip the button. I'm saving those values to room database, and that's it.
Okay. So what I'm
But
gonna do is
but yeah, I will definitely spend some time on it.
yeah, what I'm gonna, if you find something out, please do post here like additional feedback, like
Yeah,
what
sure.
was your finding. And otherwise I'm gonna open the project. I think you're using Fleet. I'm gonna try to do the same and try to
No,
figure out.
no, I'm using Android Studio. I'm using Android.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. The tooling doesn't matter. But you
Yeah,
have mentioned here
yeah,
which classes are in question, or like where to look at.
exactly.
And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure to look into this and yeah, see if I can give additional feedback.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
By the way, this is my very first time, being one-to-one with you, and I want to mention that I learned TDD. I was in the stages of my career. I learned TDD from your YouTube screencast, and got my sort of dream job in a startup in my country almost 2 years ago, and it was really a fantastic journey. And thanks a lot for all of your knowledge sharing and everything.
Thank you so much, man. So if you can write this, like if you can give this in a written form, I'm gonna appreciate it a lot, because this is essentially a testimonial that I can put on
Yeah,
Skool
of
or
course,
somewhere
of course.
else. It's gonna help me a lot.
Yeah. By the way, personal question: how do you have some sort of platform to showcase your testimonials, or like any personal website, or and the reason why I'm asking this question is I do have a YouTube channel where I teach Android development.
Mhm.
I mean, it's been I've been inactive for 2 years almost due to my time constraint due to my job, but still I still like get 10 to 15 messages on like Instagram or my Facebook or email, like different people and students, how my videos were helpful to them, and I'm also thinking of compiling those comments into some sort of testimonials and showcase them. So what sort of do you have any platform, or do you have any website of
I use Testimonial 2,
testimonial too? Okay, let me check.
testimonial.2. Let me see if I can open my dashboard, and then I can share it. And then if somebody
Yeah, I
wants
got the
to,
website open.
yeah, let me. So here we go. I still don't have anything yet. So if somebody wants to give a testimonial, like you can go to this one. So testimonial 2/Android devs. You can drop your, like, as a
Okay,
text,
nice.
or like I can also send an invitation on LinkedIn. LinkedIn also has testimonials, but you have to send an invitation to somebody who wants to give you a testimonial. So I think
Yeah,
it
I
works.
think I'm following you on LinkedIn. You can send me an invitation.
Let me see how that's gonna work. So in LinkedIn, I think there was services, I think it was. Yeah, here, invite to review. Android development, application, mobile, like, yeah, I can put Android development, let's say. And then, is your name also there the same as here?
Yeah, it's same as here. You can search SAIF and no.
Oh, wait, maybe we am I connected with you?
I Where is my LinkedIn? Yeah, I have my LinkedIn job.
Okay, connect. Yeah, but I do remember you from since long time ago. I remember the same avatar you are having,
Only due
and
to my DP, I
we've
believe.
been we've been chatting also on Instagram, I believe.
Yeah, on Insta as well, on a little bit on YouTube comments as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I sent you a request,
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, I got it.
and now I think I
Send.
should be able to. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I will definitely write to
Cool.
do because it really was very helpful for me.
Thank you so much. Glad to hear that. Cool. So I think we are a little bit over time, but it was fun. So thank you everybody for attending and for the time and attention. So yeah, I'm gonna catch up next week with you on Wednesday. Have a nice weekend.
Okay, guys, have a nice weekend.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Have a nice weekend.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye.